Welcome back, guys, to another video on the channel. The transfer window has closed, and this video is just not positive. I hate doing these kind of videos. I've come back from a football match tonight, and I've come home to news that we have signed absolutely nobody. And this video is pretty much just to spread a message. Get those people who own that football club out ASAP, because we have let go so many first team players, so many players that fill the squad, and we have brought in one player, and that player was off a recommendation from Souček, not even a player that maybe David Moyes wanted, a player that was even scouted. We have gone off a recommendation off Thomas Souček. Yes, he had a very good debut, but what is this football club doing? We have signed no centre-back. The money that was promised to be reinvested from the Diangana sale has not happened. We have gone to the transfer deadline day and then just scattergunned loads of bids. We've bidded for Kaya Tomori in the last couple of hours. Possible loan deal. Breaking news about 11 o'clock. He doesn't actually want to join West Ham. He wants to stay at Chelsea. Right? He's either fourth or fifth choice centre-back. Does that say a lot about maybe his ambition to play football, or does it just say a lot about that he just doesn't want to be at West Ham because he knows, maybe from Declan Rice, maybe because they're mates, you know, goes on holiday with them to Greece, etc., that West Ham are run, we're a shambles of a football club. And, you know, I've got to be a little bit careful because my parents are sleeping, so I don't want to, you know, shout my house down. But the only positive of this window is the fact that we have kept Declan Rice, which is absolutely fantastic. He will be our player to at least January anyway, and then this will all start over again. You know, will Declan Rice stay? Will he not? Anyway, let's just get into it. The whole day, we have left it until the last day, and we have scattergunned bids. For Kaya Tomori, as I spoke about, this Strasbourg centre-back, never heard of him in my life. Jonathan Tah. We're interested in Jonathan Tah, and he was our number one target at one point. Bayer Leverkusen want 30 million. We want to give him an option with a possible view to buy because we want to try him out first. What are we doing? Honestly, what are we doing? And I am now really, really worried about the prospect of going into the season and one of our main players, Souček or Rice, get injured. Noble, you know? Noble will be the backup centre mid. He's our backup centre mid because now Jack Wilshere, obviously, as you know, contract has been terminated. So we are very, very light in certain areas. Cullen has been let go for 800k because the fact that he's got 1 year left on his transfer. So they thought, you know what, we'll try and make some money. What are we doing? What are we doing as a football club? We've got no cover whatsoever. If Antonio gets injured, right, we've got Haller, one striker. If Anderson completes his move to Porto, we've got to rely on Fornals, we've got to rely on Yarmolenko and Snodgrass to stay fit. Snodgrass you could arguably say could be a possible centre mid option because he has been playing that in the cup games, but he isn't good enough centre mid. We saw the game against Everton, a centre midfield pairing, right, of Noble and Snodgrass. You might as well have just stuck your nan and your granddad in centre midfield because they're so slow, they can't keep up with the game because the game just goes past them. Football now is a very athletic game, and we can't be letting Snodgrass be one of our central midfield options. It's just not good enough. Now, if Bowen gets injured, we've got Yarmolenko. But if Fornals gets injured, we're going to have to play Snodgrass out there, or either Yarmolenko. We've got no other option. What is going on with our transfer strategy? It's an absolute shambles. And I fully agree with David Moyes, the fact that he got offered so many players. Apparently he's been offered loads of players by, you know, David Sullivan. Obviously, players that are probably on the books of Will Salthouse or whatever his name is, you know, his friend that we do a lot of deals with. And he said, no, I only want players that will make a difference to West Ham, which I fully get, I fully understand, and I fully feel sorry for David Moyes because he has been, you know, he's been burnt pretty much. He's been left out to dry because what will happen is, you know what will happen, right? We will get a couple of injuries, and then Everything will, heat up, right? He'll probably end up going on TalkSport again and be like, well, I did offer players to the manager, but he said no because he wanted his own players in. Well, why didn't you back the manager? We had £40 million. He come out on live radio on TalkSport and literally was talking about James Tarkowski. Well, why would we want to spend all of our money, all of our budget on one player? We signed Kufal, 5 million. So going by that budget, we technically got 35 million to spend. Now, the domestic transfers regarding the championship, if Anderson does complete that move to Porto, we do have until the 16th to possibly buy Ben Rama. And if we don't bloody buy Ben Rama, we're left in the crap anyway. But we are very, very light. And it has taken the gloss away from a very, very good result yesterday. We could have built maybe a couple of signings. We wanted apparently 3 signings today. Again, as per usual, West Ham do absolutely no business on transfer deadline day. And to be honest, we shouldn't be doing business on transfer deadline day. As Gary Neville says, he must have tweeted it a couple of years ago. The clubs that do transfer deadline day, the clubs that sign players on transfer deadline day, are the poorly run clubs because preparation. Do you ever see, for example, Liverpool, who have got football men, directors of football who know what they're doing? They're clever up here. Do you ever see them signing players on a transfer deadline day? No, they don't. They've signed their players, maybe a couple of weeks beforehand. You're not seeing them scrambling deals over the line. The players, the teams that are very, very desperate. Look at Manchester United. They've gone and signed Cavani. They haven't signed Cavani. He's been a free agent. They could have done that 8 weeks ago, right? So, West Ham at the moment, trying to penny pinch, okay? Trying to hustle teams. We're not in a position to hustle, okay? When you go to clubs on a transfer on the transfer deadline day, you want one of their players, yeah? You've either got to pay the money they want, right, or you ain't got a foot to stand on because they don't have the time to then go and get a replacement. We wanted Tar, they wanted 30 million, we wanted a loan, and they also wanted to get a replacement in time so that they'll be able to give us Tar. That's what happens when you're dealing with it on the last day and you're trying to get your transfers done on the last day. It is absolutely shocking. And we need to get those people far away from our football club because we have sold so many players, fringe players, possible first team players that could make contribution at least to the first team or some rotational options like Jack Wilshere. Yes, Jack Wilshere hasn't played many games for West Ham. We know that. He come out today in his statement and said he's been fit for the last eight months, right? And I can tell you now, there's probably going to be a time between now and January where we might need Wilshere to come on for the last 20 minutes or to maybe start a game. If we get an injury to Declan Rice or Soucek, we have Mark Noble coming into centre midfield. Imagine if if both of them get injured, which is not, unknown. Sometimes, areas you get like a lot of centre-backs will get injured at one time or both your strikers will get injured at one time. It just happens. Look at Tottenham last year. Son, Lucas, Kane, Sissoko, all injured for periods of time. It happens to football clubs. And we are not prepared for the fact that if we get a huge injury to either Rice, Soucek, Ogbonna, Haller, Antonio, Bowen, we are in the shit. We are in the shit, and it is, it's just absolutely fuming. And, a couple of clubs, a couple of times that West Ham has spoke to centre-backs, like that guy that plays for Marseille, Carletta, whatever his name is. They've spoke to the club and then they've decided, this ain't the best move for me. We do not want to join. Tomori, does that say a lot that he'd rather be Chelsea's possible 5th choice centre-back, not get a game, then probably come to West Ham and be a first-team regular. Because if Tomori comes to West Ham, he probably starts, every week. Yes, he might not start to begin with because we've been on a good run of good results, but he probably starts from then on. When there's a negative result or a bad performance, he'd probably come in. And he'd probably come in as a right-sided centre-back. Got pace, would have made an improvement to the side, definitely. However, we've tried, we've tried. It's a shambles. This club, from the club that I knew growing up, going with my dad as a season ticket holder. What is this club now? And unfortunately, David Moyes is going to be the one that will get burnt. And too bloody right that he said no to all David Sullivan's alternatives and all the ones that he's been offered players. And I'm happy he's done that because we needed a manager, you know, to do it. But yeah, it's a shambles. It's 11:15. Apparently, if we put an extension to, you know, to maybe continue talks with Chelsea, that we could maybe get Tomori over the line. But apparently, unless Tomori changes his mind, apparently Chelsea are willing to loan him. But apparently, it's all down to Tomori and whether he wants to join West Ham or not. And yeah, it's just a shambles. This club really is, you know, it's not so. Yeah, you know what? That's just going to be the end of the video, guys. Make sure you hit the like button. GSB out. Comment down below. GSB out. On Twitter, GSB out. Do what you can. Some of the Twitter accounts, West Ham Central News, XWH Employee, you know, all the Twitter accounts, Nicky Hawkins accounts, West Ham Fan TV. Guys, if they post anything, retweet it. Get this flipping vermin out of our football club. Enough is enough. We've been left in a lurch. Ian Garner, you know, Jim White talking about, oh, wait until you've at least, you know, what they do. They've done absolutely fuck all. Enough's enough. GSB out. Catch you next video. See you later.